what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
Welcome back to The Razor's Edge. My name is Chris, and I'm joined by the awesome AV from Abduction, ahead of the release of their new album, Existentialismus, which I said about 5 times in the mirror before we started. That drops at the end of February. Thank you so much for joining me, dude. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, I've had a really busy day, but I'm here and we're alive. So yeah, all good. Thanks for having me, man.
No worries, buddy. Cool. So as I mentioned, your new album drops in about a month. It's your 5th studio effort in 9 years, I believe. I think in the early days, after forming in 2016, you managed to release an album a year, basically going on 3 years. Which is pretty remarkable. Did you just have a huge backlog of music that you had ready to go, or you were just continually writing?
It wasn't a backlog, no. No, just I'm just always busy, man. The last couple of years I've been far less busy musically and kind of focused things a bit more. But and from the demo release to the 3rd album, like you say, it was kind of a record every year, and then also there's a split in between and an EP, and so it's like kind of more than that really. So. And then it was like COVID, and there was nothing else to do but make music. So, I've been pretty busy. But the latest one is obviously like we've actually finished recording that like about January last year, so just over 12 months ago. And the process with bigger labels and stuff is that things just take a bit more time in that big machine. So. So this is why we're here February a year later, which is a long time for me. So I've been kind of sitting on this for a while.
That's pretty surreal, though, the fact it's finally going to come out.
Yeah, and I've got a busy couple of weeks talking to yourself and other people and trying to catch up with like what I was thinking a year and a half ago. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Good. So, how much do you think your music was able to evolve over those first 3 years? With albums coming out so fast, how did you manage to make each one feel unique, if that makes sense?
I think the stuff I've recorded has always just been a product of the environment. The early stuff, the first 3 albums, is very much like about reaching beyond, but that's like a reaction to the closed-in environment. I was living in the big city at that point. Well, not the big city, but a city, and feeling pretty kind of crushed by the weight of everything, of just the mundanity of horrible concrete buildings and shit everywhere and people struggling to survive. So I think it was like more like an escape, more like the music was more like try and make it as little human as possible and kind of far reaching. And I think the first demo and the first album are just, they're just songs. They're just experiments in how weird and wonderful I can make things, and then you just get different focuses as the albums go on. Like this second album, or Crown of Curses, was kind of a little bit more kind of European black metal, a bit more of the a bit more sort of mid-paced riffs and but also the psychedelic stuff. And All Pain Is Penance was the first one with like kind of a full band, full studio recording. So that they've all had different flavors along the way, really. And then the previous album, Black Blood, was the first one on Candlelight Records. So that's the kind of big step up there for us. And this is the second album on Candlelight Records. So I don't know. I've just kind of reached in myself with this latest one. So it's a bit different to all of them, really.
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, your music finds itself within the world of black metal. Of course, that can mean a lot of different things these days. So, what were some of the acts that inspired this music?
I've always enjoyed the most of the classic Norwegian stuff. But I mean, I don't strictly listen to black metal at all. I've had a kind of taste for many different forms of music over the years. You know, when I was younger, it was anything with guitars in, and as you get into teenage years, it becomes more metal and things like that. But black metal wise, yeah, I mean, I love the old Norwegian scene, but I like the weirdos from the old Norwegian scene. I like the Harry, which is from Finland, obviously not Norway, but and like Ulver were a different thing at that time. Enslaved were doing something kind of weird. All the bands that sort of stood out and did something slightly different to that classic black and white covers, corpse paint. You know, the guys that took that blueprint and pushed it somewhere else, they're always kind of my more preferred ones. But yeah, I mean, modern bands. I'm an avid consumer of music, but the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been pretty terrible with new music. So I don't even really know what's out there at the minute. I find myself trying to catch up all the time. Yeah, I'm at the point where I don't really need to listen to something new to generate something myself. It's just it'll either happen or it won't. So yeah. It's hard to say nowadays.
Yeah, no worries. How would you describe your take on black metal if you were to compare it to maybe some other bands? Or if it's completely original?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely not completely original. I think anyone who says that is kind of probably bullshitting themselves. Nothing is true. Nothing is original. Everything is permitted and an iteration of something else. So one way or another. But yeah, I mean, it has to, for me, that term has to have some form of rebellion, which is, you know, that's the essence of black metal, which I think we have. And it has to be kind of true to itself, which sounds like a paradox, really, because a lot of the time you've got people in costumes and makeup and being sort of over the top and a bit, you know, not acting themselves and things. But I think it's, an outsider can look at that and go, that's just theatre. But I think the people that are really into black metal, that know it deeply and appreciate it deeply, know that it's way more than that. Yeah. Way more than surface level face paint, you know. Mm-hmm. It's an extension of something inside, and it's really, really hard to quantify that because it's different for each person. But for me, it's just, there's a feeling, there's a reaction and a feeling to the world, and it needs to come out that way. So that's what it is to me.
Yeah, nice, love that.
I think. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure this out. I don't know the answers.
No worries. I always feel that for a lot of black metal, especially ones that come from the UK, they always seem to get compared to or held up against those great Scandinavian black metal legends. That's the culture people mostly go to when they think of this subculture. Obviously, you've got your Winter Phillips and your Sayers from the UK, but what has been your experience of the underground black metal scene over here? Does it feel like it's thriving at the moment?
It definitely feels like it's thriving at the minute. It's really good. It's really good at the minute. I think it's the healthiest it's been in quite a long time, probably since the emergence of like Winter Philith and Woden's Throne, if you know those guys back in the day. And you know, that was a bit of a substantial wave in British black metal. And then before that, it's kind of hit and miss really, from Cradle of Filth and peripheral stuff that isn't really black metal. So I think it's healthier now than it's been for probably 20 years or something. You know, it doesn't seem to have a particular sound. You could play me a random band from Europe, and I could probably take a good guess at which country they're from just from hearing them. You know, because there are attributes and sort of parts of the music where you can just, it's almost geographical. You know, and I don't really think there's any particular geographical attribute to British black metal. I think, you know, Winter Philith is just Winter Philith and Sayore have a certain flavour that you could probably pick out, but all the other bands, you know, like ourselves and you know, the sort of bands we play with, none of them sound the same. We don't sound the same at all. We don't sound like the Infernal Sea. The Infernal Sea don't sound like Deatus. We don't sound like either of those. there's a lot of other bands there as well, but I can't think of many really. They're all sort of finding their own path, which is great, and I think that's really healthy. Because I don't know, I think if you try and extrapolate forward, I think there's more longevity in that rather than sort of homogenous scene where everyone sounds the same. That's going to burn out at some point. It's going to get boring. I think if everything has got a different flavour and is still fairly successful, I think that's probably a bit more longevity to that. So we will see. Time will tell. But at the minute, it's really healthy.
Yeah, brilliant. Cool. So obviously, you started this project as a solo artist, doing solo gigging, and you wore like a mask for a lot most of your live shows and for press stuff. Did you go down the anonymity approach at the beginning, like completely not keep? So what made you start off doing that?
I did. I was kind of anonymous, for I don't know, 2 or 3 years or something. But there wasn't like a grand unveiling or anything. To be honest, doing stuff like this with a mask on, it just feels a bit stupid.
Right.
And I quite enjoy going on like podcasts and things, and like there's the Internet Ecosphere podcast, and there's Cheyenne's Iblis Manifestations, if you know that. These are all friends of mine, and I've been on both of their podcasts 2 or 3 times each, and it just kind of, a conversation is a conversation, and it's if you're going to put a barrier in front of it with a mask on, it's not really the same. So whilst on stage, that is, and everywhere else visually, that stuff is incredibly important, and I think it will always remain that way. It just doesn't really lend itself to doing podcasts and interviews. I mean, if I see an interview with, I don't know, a gay area or something, and they just kind of, it's just awkward. The speech is the speech, and the talking is there, but it just feels awkward. And I've done that plenty of times, but I just can't be bothered.
Fair enough.
The music and the art direction will speak for itself,
for sure. My band started off with the anonymity masks on approach. We did that for a while, and it was fun at first, but then I got too vain, and I missed being complimented after a show because no one knew who I was when I took the mask off. So we got rid of that.
Nobody knew who was the mask. I don't like too much hassle after a show. I just want to fucking go and sit in a quiet room. But I mean, people do. People see my face around and stuff. That's fine. But I still don't use my real name. I still want some kind of detachment from the real life side a little bit. Yeah. So, it's it'll. The mask will change, the visual image will change. It will develop over time. But as far as anonymity goes, I mean, that was just fun in the beginning, and a lot of bands I really respect in the kind of underground scene are completely and entirely anonymous. People like Black Silice, Deathbell Omega, those sorts of bands. They are the internet, the Reddit threads for pages and pages as to who these people are, but they've managed to succeed in that. And then once you've taken the lid off that box, you can't put it back on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's tough now. The face is the face.
Yeah, for sure.
Deal with it,
What was the inspiration behind your stage name?
It's so the A and the V are 2 opposite symbols, 2 universal symbols. It's the up, the down, the alpha, the omega. It's the balance of the universe. This is kind of a recurring theme in Abduction and the lyrics and stuff. There's always a push and a pull, as above, so below. These things appear like eternal opposites, kind of appear throughout. Not just my lyrics and stuff, but like this is like universal symbolism in the world. So it's just a representation of that. It's not actually the letters A and V. They don't stand for anything. It's not an acronym. People always think, what does it stand for? Audio visual.
But
it's more of a artist formerly known as Prince symbol.
Okay, fair enough.
Entirely pompous, and I'm very aware of it.
No worries. Cool. So, am I right in thinking that this new album, Existentialismus, is the first time you recorded as a full band? Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, what made you think now's the time I'm going to build this up into a full band?
That's a good question. So the creative side and the writing is always been and probably always will be me. But I have I have four people who are my best friends. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position to say, I've done this thing. Do you want to come along for the ride? And and I try my best to take care of them. So, I mean, it really is returning the favor. Well, okay, do you want to play on the next record? I've still had all the kind of creative control, if you like. And I still played bits and bobs on the record as well. But it's the first time it's a full band. So we've had a real drummer on the album before, like Ed, who plays drums on this album, also plays on Crown of Curses and All Pain is Penance. But it was like a session affair, and he wasn't ever in the band at that point. Now we've done so many live shows and tours and things. Now we kind of get about quite a bit, European things and festivals and stuff. That it's just a band, really. It's a band and it's me. But it would be unfair to them to kind of take them through the whole process again and go, no, you don't get a part of that. So I think they've earned their right to. Absolutely, I think they should do.
Yeah,
it was the right time. The short answer is it was the right time.
Okay, cool. So was there any part of doing shows solo that you potentially miss compared to playing with a band, or do you just prefer playing with a band?
Fuck no. No, that's a little bit over the top. I did enjoy playing solo because no one else fucking does it, which is, no one really does that in our scene. So I'm quite happy to keep that in my pocket and say, yeah, I was the one that did that. But it was very chaotic, and it's a fucking whole lot of pressure when it's all you on stage. I'm cueing everything. I'm delivering everything. I'm the only thing people can see. It's quite a lot of pressure. So the pressure, like the kind of anxiety and nerves before a show, before those shows, was off a scale. It's only ever did small shows as myself, but I did Bloodstock as well, but mostly small shows. Serious pressure on that. Whereas it's different. I mean, the guys I have they're just fucking awesome. They know exactly what they're doing. They turn up to a rehearsal and we just practice things once and then that's it. We're not a band that rehearses every week in a garage and has done for years. We don't even see each other half the time. So yeah, they're good guys, man. We can just turn up and pretty much do it. So there's no pressure at all. I can just focus on what I need to do vocally and for performance, and that's how it needs to go.
Great, awesome. You've played a lot of different festivals over the years. Which one was the best?
Say again. Sorry, I didn't catch that.
What's the best festival you've played at?
Festival. We've played a lot of cool things. It's really hard to pick one. Bloodstock was pretty cool. That's the first time, not when I played by myself, when I played with the full band. That was fucking great. We played at Fortress Festival the first time, when it was just 600 capacity, but it was probably 750 in there or something. And that was incredible. That was on the tour with Bolzer. And some shows in Europe. We've done some really cool things in Europe. Samhain Festival in the Netherlands is fucking amazing. It's like a bit like Damnation over here. It's very similar, but way better because it's in Europe. Mass Death in Belgium, pretty underground black metal festival. There's been fucking loads, to be honest. I'm probably forgetting something really important here, but Damnation was cool. So I can name 5 or 6 there, whatever it was, that were amazing. It's really hard to pick one.
Okay, cool, fair enough. Cool. So the new album, a couple songs are out already. If people want to get their appetite wet with it, but is there a song yet to be released that you're really, really excited for people to finally get to be able to listen to, like one in particular?
I'm really excited for people to give the whole album the time. I don't think we're really a singles band. I think I want people to buy the record and listen to it start to finish, obviously, but that's how I listen to music. That's how I consume music. I don't just check out a single on YouTube and a video. So you have to do these things, and that's part of the process. But I really want people to listen to the whole thing. We do have another single coming out. So in a few days, that is specifically for the people who may think that Razors of Occam is too soft. Because it's got clean singing or whatever, and the video is all kind of cinematic.
Right.
But the new one is not like that. It's very intense, very fast, and very pissed off, I suppose. But yeah, that's Blauer ist die Farbe der Ewigkeit, which is the German title one, obviously.
Cool.
Yeah, that's coming out soon.
Yeah, nice. Am I allowed to name drop another one that I really like?
Yeah, you can name one. Yeah, there's track listings out. You can say what you like.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I was going to say, I absolutely love Truth is as Sharp as a Sword. Truth is as sharp as a sword. Fuck's sake, I can't even. I was literally, I was leading up to saying, I can say that because it's in English and I can't even fucking say it. You know which one I mean.
Give it a good go, man. I did an interview a little bit earlier with someone else. I won't say who it was, but and they couldn't say that either. That's why I'm laughing. God. I'm not laughing at your attempt.
No, it's fine. No.
It's the second one that can't. Truth is as sharp a sword as vengeance. Is that the one you mean?
That's the one. I really like that one. I'm a sucker for smart use of spoken word inserts into songs. I think it just really lifts it. And so, can you tell me a little bit about that one? How that one came to be?
Musically, the song, that's quite one that's sort of more of a stream of consciousness writing process. You know, this riff, and then it must go into something like this. And if something happens like that when I'm recording, I really try and capture it as it is. You know, that's not the original version, but the structure and everything is pretty much exactly how I improvised it on the demo, so it's very much a flowing organic type of song. And then you've got the bit at the end which we just decided on in the studio. The whole last section was me and Ed recording and I'm going, can we do something like this? And then we just did it, and it was fucking absolutely perfect. So you get those moments, and that fucking blows your mind, and it makes all the bullshit that you have to deal with very often, and the money and everything, worth it. Those moments, those improvised moments that turn into like, fuck, this is amazing. So yeah, I mean, the song is about my fear for the future, particularly as a parent. I don't know if you've read through the lyrics at all, but there's like the last section is like a big speech to kind of bless my son for the future. Okay. Not in a Christian way, but in like if I can control the future, this is what I want. And because we've got a lot of quite scary things around the corner potentially, and we're sort of living on a knife edge at the minute as a species. And I don't know, he's 10, I don't know what it's going to look like when he's 20. What's the world going to be like? What's the digital space going to be? People are glued to these things. And so it kind of lays out all my fears about that, and then ends with a big promise to him, if you like, in that spoken word section. So yeah, and that's a fucking emotional song to play live as well.
I'll bet.
The chord sequence and everything when it comes together, and that crescendo at the end is fucking like, that's when I know I've done something good. Like, I'm happy with it, because it's like, fuck, I've played this loads of times and it's still having that effect on me. So yeah, I hope that translates well live. We've only played it once or twice, but awesome. When the record's out, people have heard it.
Yeah, great. So how do you know when a song is done? Because they go on for like beyond 8 minutes, 12 sometimes. But how do you know when it's done?
There's a phrase in the sound engineering word which also applies to songwriting, I think, which is a mix is never ever finished. It is only ever abandoned. I think a song is never ever finished. It's only ever abandoned. You get to the point where you go, that's where we should stop. I'm not into 3-minute songs. You can't. I like a bit of a journey. I like things to have ups and downs and waves, and it feel like there's a start, a middle, and an end. So, and if it takes 7 minutes to do that, then that's fine. There's only 6 tracks on the record, but it's still 44 minutes, I think, something like that, just shy of 45. So, yeah, it's normal album length with fewer song titles. So I was fine with that, as long as you can split it on the final 3 and 3, like so.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Cool. So I'll mention it again for people watching. The new album drops on February 21st. But beyond that, what does the rest of the year have in store for Abduction?
We've got a number of shows. We've got a couple of shows around the UK with Infernal Sea, who are good friends of ours and label mates. They're coming up in March. There's sort of, I think it's the 7th, 8th, and 9th of March, something like that. That is a weekend there. Glasgow, Birmingham, London. So top, middle, and bottom. Those would be great. Those are kind of club shows, and fingers crossed people have heard the record and there's a bit of a bit of a buzz about things then, and people come to those small shows. So those would be great. Beyond that, we've got a couple of fly-in shows and things. So in a couple of weeks, we go to Estonia for How's a Winter Festival, which is an incredible festival, an incredible country. We're playing in Barcelona with Beherit in May, which is unreal. I can't believe we're playing with bands like that, on the same stages as fucking Blasphemy and Beherit. It's mad. Fortress Festival is the big one in the UK. That's almost sold out now. So that's an 1,800 capacity black metal festival. So we played it, like I mentioned earlier, we played it when it was 600 capacity. It's now more than sort of tripled basically. And that's in 3 years, 2 years. So we're playing main stage for that as well. So there will be, I don't know, over 1,000 people at least at that show. So we've got some cool big stuff coming up, and we're doing fewer of the smaller midweek club show type things. We've kind of burnt ourselves out doing enough of that stuff. So and then I'm working on things at the moment, but I think most of the time people need to wait till the album's out before they come and play our big festival. So fingers crossed that more happens later on in the year. But
amazing. But lots of stuff for people to get excited for, basically. So we have, and then after the summer, there's nothing. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be something. But anyway, best of luck with the new album, dude. It sounds absolutely killer. Can't wait for people to check it out. And
thanks, man. I appreciate taking the time with me and for the album.
No worries, dude. I'll remind everyone once again, Existentialismus from My Abducted will be out on February 21st, so get those dates in your diary if you're of the black metal persuasion. I've been Chris with The Razor's Edge. Thanks, dude, for joining me. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with all of our interviews by subscribing to our channel. For all the latest news, reviews, interviews, and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.